Hello and welcome back to another video, and today we are going to try and manufacture a back door for our transport box here, because you may have remembered in one of my previous videos we were clearing the scrap pile and cleaning the area where the scrap pile was, and we were loading all that stuff then into the box, not the scrap metal or anything that was gone. We were cleaning all the dirt and anything, the twigs and stuff that was left behind after the scrap pile. I was clearing that area, putting it into the box and dumping it over in the wood. The old back door on the box was not the best. It was already disintegrating, and then there was this sort of it looked like a pile of just briars and stuff. So I said I'll just back up the box, try and flatten them down and make room for me emptying that stuff out. And the box sort of disintegrated even more, and we don't have it on anymore, mainly because it doesn't fit. We have it here, but it's just sort of disintegrated at the bottom. It's bent in nearly you can see it's sort of bent down at the bottom there. It's just disintegrated and bent in nearly every place, and the middle pin that was on it, that clips down into the floor, you can see it there, is gone on it. So and also the floor was gone on it one day. The floor just disintegrated, a big hole, so we just got this lump of plywood, sort of a heavy duty plywood, and cut it out to fit the box, and we put it into the box. So I'm thinking maybe something similar, maybe just a piece of wood, and I'll drill the holes then in the timber to go into the lugs, and it should slide on, hopefully. If we do need to put, I'm not planning on putting a centre pin in it, but if I do, we could just get one of those staples you use for stapling barbed wire onto a stake, and just staple maybe a bolt onto that piece of timber, and it should slide in there, and that can act as the centre pin for it. But we'll try it without it, see if it's strong enough. If it's not strong enough, we can just simply put a centre pin in it. It's not a big deal. And I did found a piece of timber that should do the job, and I'll go and show you it now. And it's this lump of timber here. The only job that we're going to have is to get it out, because it doesn't go the full way over to the steel girder there. It sort of ends somewhere behind that bit of timber there, but it goes all the way over to the steel girder on that side. So we're going to have to try and hoax it out somehow. There's stuff on top of it there, as you can see, that will have to be taken down for the time being, while we try and get it out. But that should be fairly simple enough. We won't have to take all these sort of out. We can just push them and leave them leaning up against, whatever. But yeah, I'll put the camera down, and I will try and coax that bit of timber out, and then we'll bring it to the workshop. We'll measure it. I have all the measurements for the box, the back door, on a piece of paper, so I just have to follow them. But yeah, we'll take this out, bring it to the workshop, and we'll try and manufacture a back door for the box. The only thing is, the length of it, or the height of it, the width of it is, the height of it, the height of it is 175 mil, while the originally the back door on the box, the steel one, was 280-ish, somewhere around that, 240 or 280, I can't remember. So we'll see what it looks like with the 175 on it. If not, we can maybe join a piece onto this and make it the 240 or 280. But yeah, we'll see how it looks on it at the 175. If it looks somewhat decent, we'll just leave it as is, because it could be just a temporary job until we get actual materials to actually make a steel one, an iron one out of it, which would be way better. But yeah, this will do for the time being for what we need to be using it for. Anyways, yeah, I'll set the camera down and we'll try and coax this out somehow. Okay, so this is the plan of attack. It's not straight there. There's also a bad bit there. So the plan is to cut it sort of here and dispose of the bad bit there. And where I cut it, that's where we'll start measuring whatever the measurements are. And well, it's not really all that good in a lot of places, but that's kind of the worst place there. So yeah, we'll cut it there, and then from where we cut it, we'll measure the length of what it is, and then we'll cut it again, and then then it will be the backboard for the transport box. And then it's just really to drill the lugs then for the holes for the lugs, but we also might need to chisel where the lugs are going, because this timber might be a bit too thick that when we put it up into the lugs, the pin mightn't be able to go down. So we might have to chisel where the lugs are, just enough that the pin can go in and go, move freely, because I think it could be that bit too thick that the pin won't go down in the hole within the lug. So yeah, anyways, we'll start cutting, measuring, and whatever else needs to be done, drilling.
At 29 and I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set them rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be again. Life lessons come one in a dozen, the other 11 give something from nothing. I sit here looking for an answer. Maybe the biggest question was in the last chapter. You gave me the soul I have today. Without you I never could have moved away, but now I see what you teach. I do believe I always should have stayed. Yeah. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. One day I'll be One day I'll be yours. Life lessons come one in a dozen, the other 11 give something from nothing. Life lessons come one in a dozen, the other 11 give something from nothing. Life lessons come one in a dozen, the other 11 give something from nothing. Life changes, just open the door. One thing's certain, I'll always be yours. Is this with the happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this with the happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours.
Okay, I have it all marked out. I have the center holes got, this side and the same the far side. So all I need to do now is get my Hilti drill. I think first we'll do a small hole, a pilot hole, just to guide then the bigger drill, to get it right at the, like, dead on, as close as dead on in the center as possible. So we'll use a small drill bit first as a pilot hole or a pilot drill bit, and then we'll use the big drill bit to do the full size. And I think it's there it is, it's a diameter or radius 20 hole. Well, it's the diameter is 20, so it's a radius 10. So yeah, I'll set up the drill. I'll get the right drill bit. If there's no drill bit in there, there'll be one in the toolbox there. But yeah, anyways, you've seen me in the previous clips measuring out the length of the back door for the transport box. You've seen me cutting it out with the handsaw, and you've seen me marking out then the center holes for the holes, or the center for the hole where it slips onto the lug on the transport box. You can somewhat see the lighting in the shed is not good. The outer bit of the timber, like the outer layer, the skin, doesn't seem to be all that strong. It seems to be weak looking and stuff. But if you sanded that down, it'll look like a proper bit of timber. As you can see from the cut there, it looks fairly strong. Alright, it looks fairly good. Whether or not it'll last on the transport box, I don't really know. We'll see what the far side looks like as well, if the lighting is good enough. But yeah, you can see there's a bit of a taper on it there, but that's no big deal. But yeah, it just looks fairly good timber, fairly strong. And again, as I mentioned before, I might have to do a bit of chiseling here to get the clip in when it goes on to the lug. So yeah, we'll set up the drill bit, we'll get our drill bits, and we'll start drilling. Okay, so I stuck it on the back of the box. I'll show you now in a minute. So I stuck it on the box to see how it fits. Do I need to do any tweaking or any of that? And this is how it looks. I don't think it looks awfully bad. I think it looks pretty good. Now you can see where this box ends. The old, or not the box, the backboard ends here. The old one ended up here. I thought it was up here originally, but it wasn't. It's actually down here. So there's not much in the difference, actually. There's not much at all. So I tried putting in the pin, but it's not going in there. So I might need to chisel a small bit around here and probably up this way so that the pin can actually slide in and out easily. So chiseling around sort of there-ish. This side needs a bit more because the timber is slightly warped. It's slightly sort of curved. But the same here needs to be chiseled somewhere like there. And also I need to make them holes slightly bigger. They're a bit tight going on, so I'll make them holes ever so slightly bigger. But other than that, I don't think it looks too bad. That's basically what it's going to look like. Now, I could put like varnish on it, or a stain, or a paint to give it extra protection against weather and all that sort of stuff. And I might do that later on down the road, but for now, it's not looking too bad. I'm pretty happy with how that came out. And as I mentioned earlier at the start of the video, I wasn't planning on putting a centre pin in it, but if I needed to put a centre pin in it, all I needed to do was obviously get a bolt or something. The hole is just there, you can't really see it right, but the hole is there. I have my finger up in it. Yeah, all I need to do is get a bolt, maybe tack a bit of the bolt top and bottom, and then put one of those staples in, and it should stay there. But I don't know if I need it or not. I probably will put one in just for that extra bit of strength and extra bit of security, because it does sort of bend a small bit in the middle. So I might be leaning more towards, now looking at it now, when it's at the back of the box, I might be leaning more towards putting the centre pin in it. But overall, I am very happy with how that came out. And again, it's not as tall as the old box. That finishes there. The old box finished there. Not a lot in the difference there. It'll still do the same job as the old box did. Now, I'll take it off and I will make them holes slightly bigger, and I'll do a bit of chiseling around the edges. And we might find then a bolt that's the same size as the hole in there, and we might manufacture a centre pin for it as well. So, let's head back to the workshop. So, I've chiseled a bit of area where there's a lump that broke off there when I was chiseling, but I can fix that with a bit of filler or something. It's no big deal. So I just chiseled a big section out of where the hole is, so that the pin can slide in and out easily and easier. So there'll be nothing blocking it from going down this way, or there's nothing blocking it from going up. So I just chiseled about half, or maybe even less than half, of the timber away. I think I chiseled this timber. The thickness of it there is about 20 mil, and I done anywhere between 10 and, about 10 mil maybe, and less in other areas, because it was a bit sort of, it wasn't level. It was high this side, and it sort of went down and got narrow this side. So yeah, all I need to do is sort of fix that, but that's no big deal. It won't even slide out that anyways when it's on the box. But what I'm thinking now is, I probably should put something on it, some sort of protection, like a paint or a varnish or even a stain, just to protect the timber, and I'll probably do all of it as well. But we won't worry about that just yet. We'll have to chisel out the far side, make the centre pin, put it back up onto the box, make sure everything is okay and fitting snugly and nothing has to be adjusted or anything like that. And then we can move on to the next stage of treating it so it doesn't rot away too quickly. And you might be looking at the timber and you might be saying that timber is not going to last too long. It's just sort of the outside of the timber might look a bit frail or weak or whatever you want to call it, but as you can see there, where I've cut is okay and where I've chiseled is okay. It just needs to be treated because it's going to be in a box that's going to be full of grass from the lawns, going to be full of dung from cattle when they start calving and all that. So it does need to be treated, otherwise, especially the dung, will probably go straight through it in a couple of months' time. So yeah, it needs to be treated in some way with paint, varnish, stain, whatever. But I will do that at some point. I probably will have to sand the surface down with a bit of sandpaper. I'm using the sandpaper to sort of sand this down just to smooth it off after I chisel it. It's not even that weak of a wood because I'm finding it not that easy to. I'm chiseling it all right, but it's not as easy as I thought it would. Although this is the chisel I am using, and I did sharpen the tip of that on this machine here. I sharpened it on that, which done the job. but obviously this chisel is old, so it mightn't be the best of chisels out there, but it's getting the job done at least. Anyways, next up is to do this side. I'm gonna set up the camera somewhere and put it on time lapse, and we'll try and get this chiseled out. Hope it's only chipping near here every time I chisel it out, because this is a thin part of the wood. It's the weakest part of the wood. And then when I'm chiseling it, I'm making it even more weaker. So around this area here, I have to be very, very careful when I'm chiseling it. Otherwise it'll happen. Otherwise a chip of it will break off like it happened this side. But as I mentioned, it's no big deal. That can be fixed. I can use a bit of filler or something to sort that out. But anyways, enough talking and more chiseling. two sides chiseled out, as you can see, so that the lugs can fit in easily. You can put this up, although I probably could have kept some of that there, where you can see that it can move way more freely now. and it's secure there. Same this side. You can lift that up, put it in, put it out. There's enough for room each side as well for the with the clips, and there's enough room then both top and bottom as well, and that's secure there. So the only thing left to do now is to get the center pin, is to make a center pin so it can go down the center hole, and that'll secure the center bit of the back door and just overall make it more sturdier and stronger. So the plan for the center board is get a bolt. I have one found. I might have to cut it shorter with the grinder, but that's no harm, that can be done easily. And then sort of staple it then onto the board, so then the top of the bolt will hold it in that place, and then I'll put a tack weld at the bottom of the staple that connects the staple. Say the pin, my finger is the bolt or the pin. You'll have the top of the bolt then secure. I'll show you. Alright, so this is how we're going to do it. We have the bolt here. We don't need all that length. We'll cut it with the grinder there or the saw just to length, whatever size we want it. We'll put that there, something like that. We'll hammer the staple through it so that the staple, I'll put this down somewhere. Oop. So the staple fits snugly on the bolt like that. We can then put a tack of weld up here and a tack of weld down there, and it'll be bolted then to the board. The staple shouldn't move, the bolt shouldn't move either because it's tacked both the top and bottom. It'll be stapled to the board, and that'll act as our center pin, if you know what I mean. So we'll have it like that. Put a tack of weld up here, put a tack of weld down here, and it'll be connected to the board. Obviously this will be shorter, it'll be cut, and I've already put this into the hole, the center hole that's in the box, and it fits, so we know that this is the right thickness of a bolt that we need to use. So this is what we're going to be using, and hopefully that'll keep that in place so that when you're pulling the board up and down out of the hole, the bolt shouldn't slip out of the staple because it'll be tack welded to keep it secure that way. So now we'll start manufacturing the center bolt onto the board. So we'll have to measure the full length of this again because I forgot, and then get half of it and mark the halfway point, and that's where the center bolt is going to be. Okay, that should be that done. Now, it took me a few attempts to do the welding. I'm not all that good with the welding, but I think I've done a pretty good job. I done a tack above the staple and a tack below the staple, just to connect the staple to the bolt itself, so that that the bolt won't actually move either, because the staple is stuck into the timber, and then the staple is welded to the bolt. So then that should be the staple and the bolt fully secured, because the staple is in the timber and it's welded together, if you know what I mean. But I don't know if the camera is able to pick it up. I'm not the best of welders out there. There's better than me out there, definitely. But I think that's only my third time welding. I welded twice, but it was more practice welding than anything else. So I was just welding on a scrap piece of metal, trying to, get to know the welding technique and all that. But this is only tacking together. I done a bit of welding in school as well when I was in school. But for tacking, and my first sort of proper tacking welding, I don't think that's too bad. But anyways, let's go and see how it fits and looks on the box. And there it is, made on the box and looking good. And I think it came out relatively good. I'm happy with how it came out. You can hopefully just about see the center pin there. It's clipped in. And obviously for the clips here, you can see that they're moving about easily, that they have plenty of room. Plenty of room there. So I'm quite happy with how it turned out. And I know it's not the strongest piece of timber there. You could go to the likes of Archer's or any other local shop or area that would actually sell proper timber that's properly seasoned and all that, and get a proper bit of timber like oak or another strong bit of timber like that, and it would, especially where I have it chiseled, that's not too bad other than the little chips there. But yeah, you might look at the timber and you'd see the quality of it, and the area where it's chiseled is that slightly bit weaker than the rest of the board, obviously, and it's not the strongest bit of timber as well, as I mentioned. But I just made do with whatever I had on the farm, and it came out pretty good. It'll be strong enough for what it's going to be used for, just for dung and just putting in a bad bits of silage in the box and all that. So it should be strong enough for what it's going to be doing. Now when you have a look, another kick there. Nothing wrong with that. It's strong. It'll be strong enough. Now I know there's another way I could have made this, possibly a stronger way I could have made it, and that way is either, well, actually it'd be this way would be better if the lugs here were on the outside of the box, out this way rather than inside, because you could get your bit of timber, get a bit of flat iron, bolt it, and have another bit sticking out with your hole in the iron, slip into the lug, and then slip your clip into it. But the lug is on the inside, so in that case you get your bit of timber, maybe try and make a groove in the timber that it'll butt up snugly against the lug, and then get your bit of iron and slide, the bit of iron then slides into your lug and drop the pin down. But I think that's good enough the way I made it. It's not too bad at all. Something like this, you could have your back door for your transport box, as I have already on it. Get your little bit of flat iron, you bolt it to the timber. See, in this case, the lug, just say this is the box, the lug is on the inside, so it mightn't have worked so easily this way. But if the lug was on the outside of the box here, coming out this way, it probably would have worked that little bit better. Or even if it was on that bit of the edge of that iron on the box. So, the lug is on the inside of the box, it mightn't have worked that handy this way. So the way I done it was probably the best way I could have done it there. But if the lug was coming off the box on the iron or on the outside of the box, then that way was probably the best and stronger way to do it. So as I was saying, this lug, that lug there, if that lug was not on the inside of the box as it is there, but if it was on the outside or on the face of the box like it is there, then I could have had the iron way of doing it, but the lug is on the inside. So I think the way I have it done here is probably the best way I could have done it, because it mightn't have been too easily done with the iron strip, the strip of flat iron, and the lug connected to the inside of the box mightn't have been too handy to do. So the way I have it done is okay. It's strong enough. It's going to do what it's supposed to do. It's going to do what it says on the tin. So it's good enough for what it's going to be doing, is what I'm trying to say. Like, again, nothing wrong with that. And nothing wrong with that. It is strong enough. It's going to do what it's going to do. The only thing I am afraid of is that where I have chiseled over time, when it gets a bit of weathered, and you know, once it gets weathering at it, the weather, the rain, the wind, whatever, and once the dung and stuff like that and the cow poo gets at it, the timber mightn't survive or last as long as the iron one there. But for a temporary job, until we get an actual job done on it, for the time being, that is going to be good enough for what we wanted it to do. But anyways, with that, it's going to be the end of today's video. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you in my next video very soon. Take care.